Hi there, beautiful souls. Welcome back or welcome to The Hawk. My name is Lana Zelinsky, and I work in the spirit dimensions. As always, in all my videos or on my live feeds, just simply take what resonates, and you're welcome to leave the rest right here. Happy Friday. We made it to Friday, thank goodness. It's been a glorious week. Energetically, it's been an incredible week. For those of you who felt that big full moon energy, I hope that you're doing okay with all that. That was a big full moon. Wow. I was left in an incredible space with that moon energy. Hello, welcome all coming in. It's nice to see everybody. Come on in, make yourself comfortable and at home. It's good to see you. We have some interesting energy. I just want to have a little bit of a chit chat with you all. Um, One thing that's come up a lot is hold on a second, sorry. I'm just having a little bit of a moment here with my there we go. I had a moment there with my technology, sorry. A lot of kind of shifts have come in. I don't know if many of you have struggled a little bit this week with honoring yourself, but that full moon brought us into the space of calmness, of feeling the energy of what we really want. I talked a little bit last live with a little bit of some forgiveness was coming up. I mentioned in my last live about people kind of resurfacing that you may not have had contact with. And interestingly enough, for me, since I literally spoke those words, I had three people that I hadn't heard from many, many years reach out with just a hey, how you doing? It was kind of interesting to kind of watch all that unfold. So I'm curious if any of you had anything pop up like that. It's been a bit of an interesting week. As we navigate through today and into the weekend, one thing that's going to pop up quite a bit is this feeling of honoring ourselves and what we want. And I think a little bit of that has been kind of almost have like an undertone that we haven't acknowledged it, or perhaps people have interrupted what we want. And I feel like this weekend, the volume is going to be spoken up. There's going to be turned up a little bit louder on that. Whether you just want to chill, whether you want to get moving and doing something, just kind of remember that other people are in their own alignment and other people are affected by energy very differently. And one thing that I got reminded of from spirit this morning when I was channeling is just a loving reminder that people can only meet us in the space that they are currently in. And it was just like this little whisper. So just kind of remember that I said it. If you're working on your own growth and your own spirituality, or working on honoring yourself, and you may get pushed up against a little bit of resistance where um people or a person may come into that vibration and say, no, it's got to be all about me. I want it to be all about me. Honor yourself a little bit with that gentle energy, that gentle heart space of, I just need to do this right now. And honoring ourselves is going to be a little bit of a volume this weekend. Perhaps we'll understand it as we navigate through the weekend, but just kind of remember that I said it. I just feel like there's going to be this push pull with do everything for somebody else and don't do anything for yourself. I just felt that coming in a little bit. So just kind of go back to that heart space with a loving reminder to yourself and to other people with, no, 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 I'll see what I can do to help you with that in a little bit. But right now I need to get myself kind of by the water or enjoying the day or whatever it is that resonates with you. The other thing that was really interesting, that I channeled was I went for a motorcycle ride a couple times during the week, and something that I love to do. I don't always get out very often, just with scheduling and stuff like that. And I was just enjoying that wind in your hair and that no ceiling space. There's no roof on the motorcycle, and I just kind of looked up and was kind of absorbing the energy that was all around me when spirit just spoke while I was on the bike with this whole space of a letting yourself be more expansive. And I kind of lean in there and channeled even deeper with allowing that space. There's this thing where how spirit explained it to me was sometimes we box ourselves in from that growth, and we need to kind of have this push out. And I feel like this push out with expansiveness is going to kind of land in our lap. I think it's going to come in over the weekend, to be honest with you. I felt like this need to expand. But what often happens when we kind of navigate through that is the external sources around us with feeling that pushback. And, I think, for a lot of a lot of situations it's unintentional. I don't think that people mean to box us in or mean to, to put those demands on us. But we're coming into the space this weekend where we're gonna feel like we need space, like we need a lot more room around us. We need to have like no ceilings or no walls around us. And sometimes the ceiling and the walls can be situational things or people, but it's if you're feeling that frustration with not having enough space, and it may come at you with I feel like I can't breathe. I feel like there's just too much. I feel too claustrophobic. It may come at you like that, where you're feeling kind of pinched in or boxed in. Give yourself the space to expand. And sometimes it can be as simple as I'm just going to go and sit on the lawn chair and kind of watch the clouds float by. Perhaps you might need to get down to to the lake or to down to the water or into the forest. I just kind of keep that in the back of your mind. If you start to feel like that, it's the energy of you needing to have that space. And it may just simply be, I want some quiet time with my earbuds in. Um, I think that we're coming into a space where the external physical world chatter is going to be we're going to feel it for some of us as being a little bit too loud over the next couple days. And I think it's all pulling into this great big super moon and the 8-8 portal that we have, and we have a blue moon, we have another full moon in August, and we're just being asked to give ourselves that space to kind of sit with our thoughts, to kind of let go. I talked about forgiveness, and I've talked about a few things over the last couple weeks. This weekend we're going to feel the need to have that time and space. Just kind of remember that I've said that. Sandra, I've been craving lots of freedom lately. I was even looking at motorcycles last weekend. It's whatever brings you that space with allowing yourself to have it, we're going to be craving it, Sandra. And I think many of us will come back on another live next week and say, yeah, I needed to take some space. One thing that gets pulled into that though is that I just want to talk a little bit is sometimes we feel guilty for wanting to give ourselves that time. Sometimes we feel like I can't make that happen. We feel like a little bit of resentment for things that are all around us. It can only if you only have a minute or two to give yourself that space, absorb that time. I get it. Sometimes we just it's one thing that I've learned is it doesn't have to be the great big moments, with our spirit guides. It doesn't have to be these great big profound things. You don't have to meditate for an hour on end. It can be just those magic moments that we absorb. It kind of like top us up a little bit. And the other thing that spirit showed me this morning was when life's like a gong show and there's like all this stuff going on around us, and we've got all these particles that are floating, little bits and pieces of us that are going in different directions. Is sometimes we just have to bring ourselves back to that heart space and just kind of give ourselves that one compliment. It can be that one compliment or that one moment where we acknowledge I'm doing the best that I can with where I'm at. There's going to be a little bit of a piece of that. So if you start feeling that within yourself, I'm not doing enough for this, or I'm falling behind in that, or there's all this stuff that I'm not, that whole lack of energy space. Give yourself a moment to acknowledge all of the things that you're trying your best at, even if it's not going great. Acknowledge it anyway. There's a piece of you that wants to be acknowledged. And I think you're going to feel that a lot this weekend. So sometimes, I always say, look at how you're feeling. Look at how you're feeling. What are you feeling? Pause long enough to say, how am I feeling about that? And when we do that, then we can kind of lean into what energetically we need. I need to acknowledge that, yeah, it's tough right now, or yeah, I got all this stuff going on around me, but I'm doing my best. I'm doing my best. I'm doing my best. And there's when we don't give ourselves that acknowledgement, that's when we pull in a lot of these other external pieces or feelings, like resentment or guilt. Just kind of remember that I said that. Lean into it this weekend if you can, aware of how you're feeling, because that will be your clue. That will be the navigation system that you can kind of lean in and say, you know what, I need to take that time. I need to take this moment. I need to kind of get in there and kind of just breathe for a moment or get myself by the water. That is going to be our weekend, folks, energetically. So I hope that resonates with you. I hope that you can just get one grain of sand out of what spirit just shared with us this morning, I am personally going to make sure that I'm honoring that side of me. I'm going to make sure that I give myself a space where there's no walls, where I'm not boxed in, where I can get to what resonates with me, and I can get to that space of giving myself um a moment, just giving myself a moment. So, we're kind of programmed that everything has to be about other people. All right, let's just talk about that a little bit. We get kind of programmed, and it may not be intentionally. It's depends on your background, how you grew up, what your current situation is. But we are a little bit programmed that if we do anything for ourselves or take time for ourselves, that whole selfish piece comes in, and sometimes we just get in so much of a rut with looking after other people that we don't truly look after ourselves with our own needs and what brings us joy without thinking. For example, if you think about what to do this weekend and you kind of think about pleasing every single person around you, well, this person wants that and this person wants that. It also has to be a moment in there for you. And sometimes we struggle with that. I think many of us will struggle with that, well, it's selfish if I take that time for myself. You're gonna feel the need to. And sometimes when we don't give ourselves that, that's when we feel that boxed in space. That's when we kind of lose ourselves. That whole losing ourselves. I've lost myself in that relationship, or I lost myself in that friendship, or I've lost myself. It's because we're not taking that time to satisfy our own energetic needs, our own emotional needs. And I think the volume on that for some of us is going to be turned up this weekend. So just kind of lean in there. Let's take a look at some of the questions and comments here. Let's scroll back up to the top. The lighting this morning is bothering my eyes a little bit, so my apologies for the squinting. Maybe I just need to turn that. Maruna, this week I kept waking up at 5 a.m. I feel like I have Smith to learn, but don't know how. Sleep was a bit of an issue this week with that moon and with the energy that's coming in. Many of us are affected differently by energy shifts and by the full moon. Some people are not affected at all by that energy. I myself struggle a little bit with sleep, but it wasn't that bad for me anyway, considering all the high intensity. But I just want to touch base on that comment, Maruna. But don't know how. I have something to learn, but don't know how. One of the things that you can lean in there with Maruna is being practice the opening up to receive the learning. Sit with your spirit guides and simply say, I'm open to learn more. I'm open to, or show me the way, show me the direction. But sometimes I also feel that there might not be something new to learn. Sometimes it's about mastering what we already have going on in front of us. And that's one thing I've sat with spirit many times for myself is I want to learn more. I want to learn more. And spirit will say, yeah, but you haven't finished the current level that you're at. It's like the whole school piece. You can't go to grade 5 until you've gone to grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, and grade 4. So sometimes we're in that space where we feel like we're not learning anything new, we're not moving forward. Sometimes it's about because there's still more to master in the space that we're in. So Marina, just kind of remember those words. Sit where you are. Is there anything else that they're trying to teach you or that you're trying to master or improve? I'll use the school analogy and just kind of improve the current level that you're at with the growth. We always seem to be reaching for more, and sometimes we don't give our current situation enough credit or enough time to lean into. Right. And I understand that. There's been so many times I'm like, okay, I want to do this. I want to do something new, something new, something more, something more. And it's like spirit will say, no, 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 no. You're not finished where you're at. Okay. Hope that makes sense. Let's see here. Lots of you coming in this morning. That's great. Cheyenne, I already have been into doing stuff for myself for a bit now. Wonderful. Keep up that momentum. Keep up that momentum. Joy, is it normal, Lana, that since the full moon I hear more whispers from spirit than normal, and the dreams are insane lucid? Yeah, yeah. The full moon can bring us into many different spaces, but I think, Joy, one thing that I need to ask you is, leading up to the full moons, have you been working on receiving more information from spirit? Have you been working on opening up that space? And you have been. You've been working on opening up and opening up and opening up. Quite often with a full moon, what often happens is because the energy is so intense, we surrender a little bit more. And I'll do it with this analogy. Oh, look, the full moon. It's time to let go. It's time to surrender. And you probably surrendered perhaps one little piece of you, or the final piece of you. And quite often it's that lack of trust when it comes to hearing spirit or working with spirit. Sometimes we let go of that under the full moon because it's a great opportunity. It's a great opportunity to manifest. It's a great opportunity to let go. So we will often go into that space, Joy, and that last little piece that of holding back, or one more piece of holding back, gets released, and then all of a sudden we're more open to receive it. One thing that I always work on with myself is I work on my ability to open, and I work on my ability to continuously grow. And and it does shift, and sometimes we see it all at once. All of a sudden, it's like, "Oh my goodness, I'm hearing spirit," or, "Oh my goodness, I'm feeling better, I feel lighter," or, "Oh my goodness, my manifestations and my intentions are starting to come my way." It's because we've surrendered a little bit and opened up a little bit more. And, it kind of goes back a little bit, Joy, into what I talked about having that free space, about having, that wind in your hair, removing the ceiling and giving yourself that space. When you look back, Joy, have you been kind of giving yourself a little bit more space with spirit, a little bit more time? And the answer to that is probably yes. You probably have. You've probably been more intentional, more focused on your growth. There's that little piece of you that's been expanding, expanding, and then you tapped into the full moon energy. Lucid dreams and full moon energy. The energy is quite intense, and often, I'll share a little something that happened with me. I was doing a little bit of astral traveling in that full moon energy, and I had an extremely profound experience during my astral time. And I was like, "Oh, the full moon did it. The full moon must have helped me ride that wave." Yes, perhaps, but I tapped into it energetically, and that's literally what Spirit said to me. You got on the wave. Like you got on your surfboard and you rode the wave. And when you oh, I just like how Spirit said that. When you think about, when we get on the surfboard and we kind of ride the waves of energy, we're the ones that intentionally got on. Right. So you can, there's been a full moon, think about how many full moons you had in your lifetime. It's always something that's been there, but at some point you got on the surfboard to ride the wave, or worked to get a deeper understanding. Good stuff. It was a great question. Um, Maria. Hello, Lana. Recently, I've been thinking about how we all process pain in different ways, and how there is not a better way to cope with whatever we are going through. Um, and how there is not a better way to cope with how we go through. We all, process and go through things very differently. How I navigate through, because people always will say to me, "Well, nothing really fizzes you." You can, and it's like, no, things fizz me, all right. I have a different way of navigating through that. The difficult and the hard things that we go through, each and every one of us have our own way, we have our own lessons, we have our own navigating system. And is there an easy way to go through? No, there's not an easy way to go through it. We have to go through it. The process on which all of us go through it is very different. 100% right. One thing for me, Maria, is when I'm going through something very difficult that's hard to cope with, my trust factor is, even the when I don't understand, even when I'm kicking and screaming, and I've gone through things kicking and screaming, even when we're navigating through that, I literally grow my relationship with my spirit guides. Even when I'm upset and angry, it's like, why is this happening? I really grow my relationship with my spirit guides, and I navigate through that with, I have to learn this. It's tough and I don't understand it. Why is this happening? But I grow my relationships with my spirit guides to help me have the strength to go through those hard parts. I hope that makes sense to you there, Maria, and thanks for posting your question. Um, Cheyenne, Joy, it's not weird. My energy has been super chaotic all over the past week, the 12th and the 13th. We're also going to have a strong meteor shower. The energy this month is just crazy. The energy this month is just 100% it's crazy. We've got a lot going on energetically. Again, it affects people very differently. Some people are not affected at all. Like it doesn't impact them the way other people do. Excuse me. When you look at those of you who are affected by energy, quite often it's the empath, it's the feelers, people who feel things at a different volume or at a different level. We all have, we're all different people, and some of us are feel things energetically different than others. For those of you who perhaps are healthcare workers or work in the general public, if you kind of track it in a journal, you will often find that the general public, well, sometimes, or in healthcare, I've seen it a lot in my nursing years. Patients will behave very differently. They can be, completely in a different energy, or the general public can be very much agitated or angry, or perhaps it's even in your own house. If you just kind of like track it with where were we in the moon cycle, sometimes the energy or what's going on around us, it affects people in very different ways, and some people not at all. Right. There we go. Okay, so I hope that helps. Uh, Sandra, we talked about that. Okay. Lana, can you please tell me if my cat is visiting my life, um, and other four dogs? Mila, 100%, but I also feel that I have to kind of push it back to you with when we feel that. I feel like you've been feeling that. I feel like you've been kind of have this, whether it's you're aware of it or it's in your subconscious. I feel that you feel that. So absolutely, just kind of trust your own feelings on what you get there. Um, Kayla, I'm craving so much freedom too. It's making me reconsider some things. Okay, so okay, let's talk a little bit about that. Um, One thing that I kind of I kind of lean into taking this one step at a time. Is there something that I'm missing? Is it space? Is it freedom? And before I kind of make any big shifts, I kind of lean in there. Okay, I'm going to go spend a day by myself. I'm going to give myself some time to process and receive clarity. I'm Because sometimes we just need to add something, in order to kind of put things that back into that balance. So sometimes when you're feeling that out of balance, give yourself that space, give yourself that opportunity to take that time. To really take that time and process that. One thing, and I'll tap in there a little bit more too, is people who know me personally, people who have an understanding of the person that I am and what I need are, and I'm a big one with freedom. I've got to be able to march to the beat of my own drum, and I need different things than other people, and that's okay. But those of us who are around me are very much okay with you. If this is what you need, take all the time you need to do it. And sometimes it is about doing things alone. Sometimes it is about, and I've been in situations where I say, "Oh, I'm going to do this," and somebody will say, "Oh, I want to come with you," and I'll say, "No, I want to go and do it by myself." And do people take it personally sometimes? Yeah, but I'm very clear. It's not about you. It's not that I don't like you or don't want you or don't love you. It's about I just need the space to be by myself. And sometimes it can be a day, a week, or a month that I need to kind of have that space. Um, so give yourself that opportunity and that time, and to just ask for the clarity and take the space that you need. It's important. And again, it comes down to this whole expectation that we've got to take everybody with us or do everything for other people. And it is a fine balance. There is a fine balance in that. And I understand, and I get that. Okay, let's see where we are. Lots of questions here today. Maria, I felt like my spirits were encouraging me to be more gentle with myself and people around me. Can you validate that for me, please? If you are feeling that, you've got to listen to that. When you think about Maria, everything that I talked about this morning on the live so far, it's been about that. It's been about giving yourself some time, giving yourself some space, giving yourself that opportunity, more gentle with yourself. And I think that we're always, always working on that. I'm always trying to be gentle with myself. Lana, you're learning. It didn't go great, but you're learning. And I think that when we get into the habit of being more gentle with ourselves, we do start to feel a different sense of that self-love. We really do. You know, and I talked about this, I think it was in the last live, when when a baby's learning to walk and they tumble and land on their butt, we don't yell at them to stand back up. We encourage them. You got to look at yourself that way too. You've got to look at yourself with I'm learning to walk, and being really gentle and really loving every moment. And if all you can muster up, because sometimes it is hard, it can be brutally hard, and I understand that. I've had moments where I've said to spirit, like, "What the hell?" Like, I'm learning. I go back to that. I go back to I'm learning, and other people are learning too. And that also helps when it comes to other people's stuff, other people's experiences, other people's situations that may affect us. They're learning. They're learning how to walk. They're learning how to trust. They're learning patience. They're learning wisdom. And that really helps with other people as well, because sometimes, as spiritual and as self-aware as you may be, sometimes we get our nose in where it doesn't belong to. And it's about, no, I got to step back. I'm here for support, but they are learning that. They are learning how to be patient, or learning to trust, or whatever it is that somebody else is going through. And that's a big one too, right? Is to have that awareness that somebody else is learning something. That's one. It's really funny because people who are really close to me, I've had to be really careful. I'll give them advice and support and encouragement, but I'm not making anybody else's decisions. They're learning, and if they don't take spirit's advice or listen, they don't have to. They truly don't have to. They're learning through their experiences. I hope that makes sense to everyone. Okay. Let's see. Good morning, everybody coming in. I see you all joining us. Thank you for joining us. Shaz, I have results today. I have results today on 17th of August and feel anxious. Will I have a guaranteed offer from a university this year? Will I be happy by the end of the day with my results? I feel very excited, Shaz. So I feel very excited. I feel like everything is working out. I feel like you're going to land where you need to be. I got to get you into that space a little bit. I've got to get you into that trust space. I think that you're coming into, a great opportunity of learning, a great opportunity, to gain momentum. But I've got to get you there. I just feel spirit very gentle with the whole surrender and allow kind of thing, right? I'm going to land where I need to. That self-talk or those rants will be very helpful there for you, Shaz. But when I lean into that, I have results day on the 17th of August. I get excitement. I get very excited. So, and that's how it feels to me. So trust the process. Trust that you're going to land where you need to go. All right. This is good information that Lana and me are pretty much online. Love that. I love that too. I love that too. Um, Peyton, I've been feeling that my partner and I have been growing through profound lessons lately. We have noticed some new energy looking at us, knocking in our house. It was a bit startling. Okay, I'm just going to reread that. I've been feeling that my partner. Okay, so Pete, when I lean in there, I feel with that energy that you're picking up on, I feel that it's validation. So I feel like, Peyton, if I can just ask you a couple questions here, 'cause, just to so that I understand what I'm feeling. I'm feeling validation on the whole growth piece. I feel like there's new opportunity. I feel like there's more growth coming there. I feel this pull closer together. I feel like this energy that you're feeling is kind of like this big shift that you've been kind of either waiting for or hoping for or working towards. I feel it's that shift coming closer. I don't feel any energy there that shouldn't be there. um, um, Yeah, I'm not feeling that at all. I just had another lean in back into that. I feel that it's this push and this push to continue your growth, to continue your learning, to continue to allow. It's that's just kind of how I'm what I'm picking up on it. Um, Sony, I have a new puppy coming tomorrow and adopted a new kitten yesterday. The house is full of animals now. Do they have any messages for me? And also, do my spirit guides have anything to say to me? Okay, there's a whole lot of questions in in that phrase. Animals bring. I'm a big animal person, so animals bring such a loving vibration to a household. Um, I know it's a puppy, and they're they're quite busy as well. But I feel energetically with this puppy. I can't take my awareness off the energy of this puppy. I feel with this puppy. I feel like there's a stronger connection than what you may have thought going into this whole situation with this puppy. I feel very connected to this puppy. Excuse me. I also feel that this puppy has the energy feels quite needy for a very, very long time. I just feel very, very needy, more needy than like the average puppy. I just feel like there's this need there. But what I also feel that this puppy is trying to, the energy that this puppy is trying to bring out in you is your own needs. This puppy's bringing you a lesson about neediness and about your own needs. And when I lean into the spirit guide piece on that, I really feel I need to acknowledge your needs. So I feel like I need to get you into a space of acknowledging what you need. And I also am in my throat chakra a lot with this question. I feel like you're not speaking it. I feel like I got to, get you to kind of sit with what you need. You're very good at what everybody else needs, but I need to get back into that chakra space of being able to speak what you need. And sometimes have you ever kind of been in a space where I don't really know what I need? I don't know what I want. I don't know, right? I feel like I've got to get you to just pause long enough without everybody else's needs and all the other things around you, and I've got to get you to your throat chakra. There's something that you're not speaking with your need. So I'll leave that there with you to kind of sift and sort. Let's see where we need to go here. Um, Haley. Whoops. Haley, where are you here? Haley, where to go? I lost Haley's question. It was about an offer on a house. I'll try and find that for you, Haley. My mouse went wild on me. Must be spirit. Uh, oh, Joy, I was working on that, but I had the feeling before the moon I was stuck. The full moon energy would have helped bring you clarity. So good for you. I lost that question. I don't know why I can't find it. Kitty cat. I just got the second doctor, so now I have to trust spirit with this. Past week, I've had this skin irritation inside my mouth. Each day spreads and now progressed to a blister. How do I clear it? Um, I don't feel it as energy. I feel it as something going on medically. I don't feel like there's anything energetically there to clear. That's just what I'm picking up on that. I feel it's more of, and sometimes things are not. It's not always energetically either. I don't feel like I've got to clear anything there. If you feel that you do. One thing that I always lean into is the whole letting go process, giving yourself an opportunity to let go. If you feel like you're holding on to something and your body's responding to it, give yourself the permission to let go. I will often just close my eyes and just visualize whatever, like almost like I'll visualize little bubbles coming off of me or the dust blowing off of me. If you feel like there's something that you need to let go, I always tap into that exercise. Um, Cheyenne, I think there are better ways to cope with things we go through, but indeed for everyone is the better way. The better way is different. It's always different for every single one of us. It's always going to be different. What resonates solely to me or works for me may not work for other people, and that's okay. right? It's about finding, and that's the great thing about spirituality. It's about finding what works for you. It's about finding what, when it comes to releasing or allowing. Some people really resonate with water, and a soak in a tub makes them feel better energetically or helps let go of things. Some people, they need to get down to the ocean. Some people, they need to garden. Whatever resonates with you, tap into that. Tap into that. Uh, hey, Lana, can I ask for some blessings and positive vibrations for my country? We have extreme weather and extreme waters. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm sure everybody here will tap into that energetically and send you some love, light, and some protection and some strength to help you navigate through that. Diane, my cousin passed away back in January. Any messages from her? It was sudden, left the hospital not knowing that was the last time I'd see her. Diane, number one, I feel a lot of very light, funny energy when I tap into that with her. I feel like there's either it's with you or somebody close to you. I feel like this seriousness. She's trying to lighten. So I don't know if there's something going on that's been like very very serious, or there's a struggle with this seriousness energy. She's trying to shake that up. She's trying to lighten that, and it could very much be. The grief or missing her, or like you said, not the last time getting to see her. She's trying to loosen that and lighten that up. One thing with spirit, and I think I've talked about this a few times, is for them, they're not gone, they're still here. So they have a very different perspective, right, on leaving the physical world. They have a very different perspective than what we do. And I have this argument all the time with people who have passed, is we look at it very differently, and it's almost like this, I'll use the word debate or argument. They're like, yeah, but we're here. And then actually people go, no, you're not. And she's trying to lighten that. She's trying to lighten that load. I feel like she's really trying to like get you to lean into that lighter side. She just keeps trying to lighten things. And I don't know if there's a lot of heavy stuff going on around you or a lot of heavy stuff going on in the family, but she's trying to lighten it. I hope that makes sense there for you. Uh, Cheyenne, my spirit guides also really surprised the crap out of me just recently with some news for me that I'm still trying to wrap my mind around. Yeah, they're great at the surprises, aren't they, Cheyenne? Just fun facts at the end of August, we'll be having 6 retrogrades going on at once. 6 out of 7 planets to go through retrograde this year. Yeah, it's a big time for some retrograde. And quite often, we become aware that slowing down, or we may become aware or feel that we're at a standstill or things are going backwards. Quite often that's going to bring in some energy with that as well. You're right, Cheyenne, 100%. Kayla, thank you. I'm going to hold space this weekend. Excellent. I like the idea of seeking clarity. I know I feel impulsive when I crave that freedom. You know, I always, always, always using that phrase with spirit. Show me, show me, show me. Clarity for me is huge. I always ask for it. I want to see it. And one thing that spirit always reminds me of is, okay, when you get that clarity, you might not always understand it or like it. Right. So, because I went through a phase, if you will, or where spirit was really showing me thing one after the other. And it was like, well, you wanted to see. You wanted to see. So here's your clarity on that. So we just remember, it's a gentle reminder with clarity. When we ask for it, it's not always going to be easy. So sometimes it's, I just have to kind of, when we ask for clarity, be prepared that it's not always what you want to see. And that's okay. Right. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but I just felt like I had to like lovingly remind you of that. It- they will show you what you need to see. And you always have to stay open into that space as well. Um, It does not feel good to be told what to do unless it's asked for. Yeah, and I think, that sentence, rings true with people in the physical world, but it's also truth, when it comes to spirit. Spirit will guide us and show us, but they won't interfere, right? Unless we ask. So, that's a very good point. We if we're ready to ask and we're ready to see it, we need to be very clear with that, and it's really important. And it's so true in the physical world. Sometimes people will pop in with all their advice on what you should do, and I'm sure we've all been there where it's like, yeah, I didn't ask for I didn't ask you for your 2 cents. It's the same thing with our spirit guides. They will help navigate us, but we do have choice and free will in this physical world where we can say, no thanks, don't want your help. Right. And do our spirit guides get upset or take that personally? No, not at all. But the repeat lessons will continue until we're like, "Okay, I get it. Maybe I need a hand with that. Maybe I need a hand with that." Um, all the questions on here and the support for each other is delicious as always. Let's see where we need to go. Won't listen to anyone, not even that's funny. I think one thing that we have to remember is sometimes it's okay to try and figure it out on our own too. I think that we lean into, it's okay. It's okay that I'm gonna feel this. I need to feel it. I need to understand it. I need to grow through it. And that's okay. I mean, sometimes I think we can lean in too hard where we don't want to make our own decisions, or we want somebody else to make it, or we want spirit to do it all. We have to do our own work too. I'm just gonna add that as a little bit of a comment and suggestion as well. Good. Uh Thank you, Lana, for the clarity, peace, and thanks, Cheyenne, for the advice. What a great chat. I just, when I see all the support and the comments and the help and the guidance, I think that that's amazing. I always leave these lives um so full of joy and love for the people that have helped each other here. I think it's great. And as always, you take what resonates. Perhaps you leave here with a different understanding. Perhaps you leave here with a little bit more open. Perhaps you leave here with a sense of peace and community. And leaning in there a little bit. I think it's absolutely amazing. I do have to get going. It's 9:24. I am hoping to pop on to a Facebook Live this weekend. I have surrendered to allowing what needs to be for me as well. So I'll see where the weekend navigates and how that pushes through. But that is something that I hope to do is to get onto Facebook and do a live this weekend. Um, as always, love, light, blessings, and a spirit guided day. Take care, everyone.